Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree. But whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe. Let me start this episode off by giving a disclaimer, if you will. I feel the need to put you all up on game for today. If you are one of those people who don't like when I make things about race or when I bring up race, this is not the episode for you. Go ahead and turn it off now. Join me again on Monday. No harm, no foul. If you're somebody that can't see inequality when it's staring you directly in the face, go ahead and turn this one off. This ain't going to be for you. If you've ever said to yourself, well, what else do they want? How much more do they need? This is not going to be the show for you. You might as well turn it off. I'll give you a second. 1 second is over. Let's go. What do Black people have to do in order to get the same level of success that white people enjoy? I'm not even being joking, I'm talking about this in the prism of sports, but we can put it into the prism of life if you need to. But this is the prism of sports, right? And so I'm going to start here. I'm going to go a few places. And so you're going to have to bear with me because you guys know that I'm ADHD and my brain is sometimes all over the place, but it's hyper fixated on this one thing. It seems that at every turn, when there's the opportunity in sports for a Black man to ascend to the levels that their counterparts, their white counterparts, are held at, there's always a hiccup. There's always some type of stop, right? In his 2.25 years in Carolina, Matt Rule, who had signed the richest, if I'm not mistaken, the richest NFL head coaching contract in the land, that man won 11 games. His first season was still 16-game season. He won 5. His second season, 17-game season, he won 5. He went 1-4 to start the season this year, and they fired him, rightfully so, because they should have never hired him. There was nothing in my brain when I watched Matt Rule coach teams that said, oh, he's going to be successful in the NFL. And they said all the right things when he first came in. And, NFL players, almost more than any other league's players, are kind of sheepish. So they'll say whatever gets them in the good graces with ownership because they're trying to get another contract. Or they're trying to be allowed to stick around long enough to see the end of their contract. Okay, cool. So we have the Matt Rule experience. In 2.25 years, he wins 11 games. Steve Wilkes comes in, and over the last 12 games of the season, he wins 6 of them. They are in several other games. They push for a playoff berth. all of this happens, and he doesn't get an opportunity to get that head coaching job. He was already on the staff, which means that here's the crazy part, right? Carolina could have received compensation for cultivating a black head coach hire and for hiring a black head coach. They could have argued and received compensation for cultivating a black coach hire and for hiring a black coach. Remember last year when San Francisco cultivated a black head coach that went on to take the head coaching job at Miami. Miami was compensated for hiring a black coach. San Francisco was compensated for cultivating a black coach hire. Carolina could have done both in the same sitting. Instead, they went to Frank Wright, a guy who had everything set up for him to succeed. They did everything in the world to give Frank Wright the opportunity to succeed. He took over a team. That had it going on. They lost their quarterback. They had a good quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. They were decent. Instead of bringing him back and allowing him to get better in the system, they went out and got another guy. They brought in an old man. They brought in an old man who's been in the league forever. Decent success, not where they want to be. They get him out. They bring in Carson Wentz, a guy that Frank Wright supposedly developed. No success. They get him out. They bring in Matt Ryan, an established winning quarterback in the NFL. It's a dumpster fire. They fire him. That's the guy that Carolina decides he's the guy. He doesn't have to sit out after being a failure at that job. He doesn't have to sit out a year. He doesn't have to go back to being a coordinator. He doesn't have to do any of those things. He just immediately ascends to another head coaching job in the NFL. By the way, Matt Rule, fired, immediately gets a Power 5 job in college football. They don't fail. They just change jobs. Meanwhile, Steve Wilkes, a guy who went and took over an Arizona team that was destined to be bad, gets one season, he's shown the door. Comes here to Carolina, 6-6 in 12 games, changes the culture. People are buying in, playing a brand of football that matters. By the way, they get rid of talent. Get a wide receiver out of there. Get your best running back out of there, and a guy who many people think might be one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the country. I mean, in the NFL. Get him out of there. Trading assets away, rotating through quarterbacks, through injury or whatever might be going on. Steve Wilkes wins 6 games with that team that Matt Rule couldn't win more than 11 games with in 2.25 years, and he can't even get the job. What does he have to do? What better way to show that you are head coach material than to take over a dumpster fire, put out the fire, and actually start having success? What if he can't get that job? What job can he get? What's the excuse going to be? We've watched this Kansas City Chiefs offense with different machinations. Same quarterback, different machinations, doing it different ways. Before Eric Bieniemy became the offensive coordinator, we saw guys walk in and walk out and get head coaching jobs. Walk in, walk out, get head coaching jobs. Eric Bieniemy still there. This cycle that's coming around with all of the head, I haven't heard his name once. You know who I heard? Mike Kafka, the guy who was the quarterback's coach with Kansas City, who went to the Giants to run one of the most like average pedestrian offenses in the history of man. He's getting head coach consideration because of the job that his offense did turning around Daniel Jones, which in real world means kept him from throwing interceptions and only gave him 15 touchdown passes in 16 games. What are we doing? It's so disrespectful to Steve Wilks that Kellen Moore was the second option. Steve Wilks wasn't even the second option. Kellen Moore was the second option. We don't know if Steve Wilks was the third. The only way we know that Kellen Moore was the second option because Kellen Moore let it be known, yeah, I lost out on that job to Frank Wright. What do we have to do in order to get the same opportunities as the others? If it doesn't make you mad, cool. I'll be mad for both of us. I'll be mad for all of us. Until you figure out why this is so awful, I'll be mad for everybody. I wish it stopped there. The argument now going on, right? Since Patrick Mahomes became the man, there has been there was the acknowledgement that Patrick Mahomes was the man, his MVP year. Okay, he's the man, 50 touchdowns. Nobody's come close to doing what he's done. And yet, every single season, people keep trying to put other quarterbacks on Patrick Mahomes' level. For years, when Aaron Rodgers was considered to be the best quarterback in the league, even though he only won one Super Bowl, and his team never even got to the Super Bowl again in the subsequent 10 years after, people even with Tom Brady winning championship after championship after championship, people kept saying, hey, yo, we know Tom Brady's the GOAT because he's winning championships, but the most talented, the best quarterback we've ever seen, the best quarterback in the league is Aaron Rodgers. And even when Russell Wilson was in his heyday, when Russell Wilson was doing exactly what Aaron Rodgers was doing, nobody dared to say, hey, Russell Wilson's on the same level as Aaron Rodgers. And yet, they don't stop trying to put people on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. First, it was Josh Allen. That game that he was really good in, but they lost, that was the game that ascended him to the level of Patrick Mahomes. Then it was Justin Herbert. Oh my God, Justin Herbert doesn't even have weapons except for these wide receivers, all these wide receivers and running backs he have over here. Justin Herbert, he's the same as Patrick Mahomes. Now it's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is up on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. Ladies and gentlemen, why can't we just let Patrick Mahomes be the best quarterback in the NFL, bar none? Why can't we let him be number one for longer than a minute? Here's the funny part. When Patrick Mahomes won MVP, and then Lamar Jackson won unanimous MVP the next year, nobody put Lamar Jackson on Patrick Mahomes' level. Nobody said that Lamar Jackson is at the same level of Patrick Mahomes. You know why? They said, well, yes, Lamar Jackson unanimous MVP, but Patrick Mahomes has won a Super Bowl. None of these white guys have won a Super Bowl. Not Josh Allen, not Joe Burrow, Certainly not Justin Herbert. Josh Allen has regressed in the last 3 years. Who leads the league in turnovers at quarterback? I'll wait. Guess who it is? It's Josh Allen. None of those guys have ascended to the level of Patrick Mahomes. And yet, every time I turn around, somebody's trying to put them on Patrick Mahomes' level. Make it make sense. What does he have to do in order to be at a level by himself for longer than a week? If he's in a lose-lose situation, they are always looking for reasons to ascend the next person. If Jalen Hurts takes Philadelphia all the way to the Super Bowl and wins it, he still won't be put on Patrick Mahomes' level. Even though he's had an MVP season, even though he's not going to win it. Remember, Josh Allen hasn't won an MVP, but they essentially said he had an MVP season last year when he didn't win it. Joe Burrow hasn't won an MVP season, but he's essentially had MVP level seasons, even though he hasn't won it. If Jalen Hurts takes his team and wins a Super Bowl, do you think they're going to put him on Patrick Mahomes' level? If he goes to the Super Bowl, faces Patrick Mahomes, and beats Patrick Mahomes, do you think they're going to put him on Patrick Mahomes' level? No. That's not how it works. It only seems to be, I can't stay on this mantle alone by myself when I'm black. As soon as we can find another one that doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes to throw in there, we do it. And the crazy part with Joe Burrow is that Joe Burrow is liked in black culture. All of the swaggy stuff that Joe Burrow does, by the way, all of the stuff that you people would have killed Cam Newton for, is the stuff that Joe Burrow does and gets away with. Nobody questions. All of the stuff that you said that Cam Newton made it too much about himself, that he was too flashy, he was too flamboyant, that the starting quarterback, the franchise quarterback, had to be more humble. Joe Burrow ain't got none of that. He does all of the stuff, and you love it. I love it. I love it, because you should be confident. You should be swaggy. He's a mid-20s quarterback in a world that loves mid-20s quarterback, mid-20s good-looking quarterback, in a world that loves mid-20s good, of course, and he's great. He ain't Patrick Mahomes. I don't need to go into the little nitpicks like Dan Orlovsky does in order to try to prove that he's not Mahomes. I'll just tell you, he's not Mahomes. Believe what you want. But they keep on trying to put him up on that level. And if he beats Mahomes, a hobbled Mahomes, they won't say, well, you know, Mahomes was hobbled. If his team beats Kansas City because he doesn't actually play against Mahomes, if they did, we got to stop this. We know Mahomes will beat the brakes off that dude. We know this. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? At every turn in this business, I don't know why it's so prevalent in football, but it seems impossible. It seems impossible for the black people to get the due that they deserve. And I don't mean, hey, he's good, congratulations. I mean the sustained excellence, the sustained cheering. Nobody got tired of saying that Aaron Rodgers was great. Even when Aaron Rodgers was not great, people still said he was great. That got him this ridiculous contract that Green Bay gave him right now, because the whole world told the Green Bay Packers that they were wrong for moving on from an Aaron Rodgers that was clearly not interested in being to the level that he had been in the past. Nobody got tired of it. We get tired of Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't even been in the league for 8 years. We're already tired of him? He's not 30. We're tired of him. How? We're not tired of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's 43 years old, 44 years old. Nobody's tired of Tom Brady. Yet Patrick Mahomes, the most gifted quarterback we've ever seen, the one, Neo, playing football. Neo is playing football. And we're tired of that. We don't want to see that anymore. We quickly want to ascend somebody else. Or does the hue not fit you? Does the hue not fit you? These are questions I keep asking. What do we have to do? There's example after example after example when it comes to football that make me ask these questions. We ascend certain guys up to he's a starter level, but not others. Somebody tell me why Jacoby Brissett is not a starting quarterback in the NFL, a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, and Daniel Jones is. Somebody tell me how many different offenses Jacoby Brissett has been in. He's never been a turnover machine. He scores touchdowns on the same level as Jones, as Daniel Jones. Why is he not a starting level quarterback? Why is the backup in New York not a starting level quarterback? And he's had better seasons. He's had better seasons than Daniel Jones. Why is he not a starting quarterback in the NFL, but Daniel Jones is? Why is the bar so low for them in order to be seen as successes and so high for us? I saw an idiot try to write a comparison piece of Brock Purdy and Malik. And I was like, I don't understand. Malik Willis and Brock Purdy are not in the same situation. Brock Purdy has the person that they consider to be the most offensive mind, gifted genius of all of the young offensive gifted geniuses in San Francisco. They have every single weapon known to man. They have one of the best running games in the land. Everything that's set up for that to be a turnkey situation for a quarterback. And they're asking him to make dump-off passes or wide open throws. Malik Willis is at a place that is predicated on running the ball with an offensive scheme that is super conservative, with weapons that nowhere near match what they have in San Francisco. And they're not even running the same offense when he's in the game that they're running when Tannehill is in the game. How is this comparable? He didn't even get a chance to get his feel about him. He didn't get multiple games in a row. They didn't just say, hey, here's the keys. They say, hey, here's a spot start here. Here's a couple starts there. He had 3 starts on the season. Brock Purdy has started more games. He's had an opportunity to be more comfortable in an offense that is quarterback friendly with weapons everywhere. Yet We're already ready to say, hey, Tennessee needs to go ahead and go back into the well. And people are ready to give Brock Purdy a max contract. I asked the question, what's the difference between Brock Purdy and Nick Mullins? What's the difference? Nick Mullins came in and did the same type of stuff. What makes Brock Purdy different? Maybe San Francisco has unlocked the key to being good. Hey, let's just keep going and get mediocre quarterbacks and elevating them to a decent level. We don't have to pay a lot of money for them. And then we can spend all our money on defense and weapons around them. Seems like a great idea to me. What do we have to do to get that same level of consideration? It's infuriating. I don't understand how people can watch this and go, oh yeah, this is equal. This is fair. This is just. How? In what world? With what eyes? Nothing about this makes sense. Nothing about this is right. There's one Patrick Mahomes. None of these other dudes are on their level. Black, white, Hispanic, alien. It's one of him. He's one of one. If you want to put Joe Burrow in the grouping with some other dudes, I'll listen. Don't put him with that dude. Let that dude sit at the top by himself until somebody legitimately comes along and is better than and or on his level. I love Lamar Jackson to death. I wouldn't dare put Lamar Jackson up on his level. Because I have sense. Because I have a brain. Because I know that would be disrespectful to what he has done. You other people out there, you guys need to start thinking the same way. By the way, while I have you, G2, that's the way to go. That's number 5 on that little thing going around Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till next time, peace.